Welcome to the podcast,
Hi.
Miss Ona Louise.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. It is my honor and my absolute pleasure. So I know Ona as Jonathan through your soul style, Jenny. Jenny hooks it up. Jenny knows what's up. So the first time I ever had a stylist was with Jenny, and you were her assistant.
Yeah.
And you showed me how to dress myself after the pandemic, which was like
That was super fun.
It was really fun and life-changing. I didn't realize how, and you could probably, you know this better than anyone, how really life-changing it is to look like myself on the outside. I'm like, I am fabulous. I am like full of life. And then I'm wearing sweatpants all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was really cool to be reflected, out in the street, like, oh yeah, you are who you say you are. And so thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, that was super fun. And that was like a photo shoot in its own thing, too. It was like we did a lot of things that day. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Yeah.
It lives on her website, in case anyone's wondering. It's
Sponsored by.
sponsored by Your Soul Style. Meanwhile, I'm wearing a Rent the Runway.
I'm
Also?
obsessed with Rent the Runway. And I style for them, too.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, can you give me a rundown of who you are, Ona?
I'm here now. I'm Ona Louise. I am a fabulous drag artist in New York City. And I do many things, including styling. And I work for Drag Story Hour as well.
As the executive director?
Yes, I am. I'm the Kris Jenner of the
Oh.
drag queens.
Snap to that. How did you get into this art form?
Just being a queer young human. As a young boy, I always loved expressing creativity with like outfits and drama and, tearing down the curtains and the bed sheets and making interesting outfits. Apparently you can make money off of that later in life.
Wait, you did that as a child?
Yeah.
Like, you would just dress up all the time?
Making capes and, and all kinds of Roman robes. And I loved doing my Princess Leia, white dress situation. So, yeah.
Did you wear dresses as a child?
Not like seriously. It's just like fun. You just pop in your Beauty and the Beast cassette tape and you go to town with your costumes.
Not as serious as this. This is serious?
I mean,
or is this fun?
This can be as serious or fun as you want it to be.
Both to me.
It's seriously fun is what it is.
It's seriously fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So then when did you actually become Ona Louise?
I guess drag is so different for everybody, but I feel like when you do drag for the first time, you're either one or two types of drag performers. You're either like a Halloween queen where you get dressed in drag for Halloween once. And then you're like, oh yeah, I love drag. I'm going to do it. Or someone asks you to do it for a college show or a benefit or a high school thing or to raise money or awareness for something. And I was a Halloween queen. And I did Lana Del Rey in 2009 or 10 or something.
She's really cute.
And she was really hot in the moment 10 years ago. So I was
go? Where are you,
she's
Lana?
still around. She just came out with an album. It's super depressing as usual, and I love it. Summertime sadness, baby.
Yeah. Well, so she that really changed things for you. You were like, I love being Lana right now.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is powerful. You take on, like you said, you take on different attributes when you're dressed up, and when you look different, you get more confident or maybe more outspoken, or your humor changes.
Do you feel different? Like you're in an alter ego? I mean, you have a totally different name.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to kind of escape yourself, your everyday situation, and throw on something fun and be someone else for a little bit.
So what does a drag artist, what's your day to day? Do you perform in the evenings mostly?
Well, that's the great thing about working for Story Hour is I hardly ever do nightlife, which is amazing because
you get tie-dye?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the 1900s. I am an elder millennial. I do a 9 p.m. in bed watching,
Reality TV.
or
I just
something.
swipe on my phone. I'm really boring like that.
Oh.
Like I'm the person, like in the self-help world where they're like, stop doing that. And I'm like, I can't stop.
I'm a
This is
doom
like
scroller.
mindless scrolling. People giving me advice about shit I didn't ask for.
I love it. My favorite thing is watching people do things I would never do. Like deep clean the refrigerator.
Never.
I loved. I could watch a 3-hour video of someone like cleaning a rug.
Right.
I
Wow.
like,
Interesting.
love that. And
Is it
meanwhile, it's like a super looks like an SVU unit episode with like wigs and heels everywhere around my room. But
someone's rug is clean and you feel good about
I'm like, yeah,
having watched that.
yeah. It's the Virgo in me. I just love.
I'm a Virgo.
Oh.
When are you born? What's your birthday?
To September 16th,
I'm September 6th.
2005.
2000. Oh my God, there are people that were born in 2005. That's crazy.
It's real. Wait, when's yours?
Mine is September 6th, 1984.
Okay.
So I'm quite a bit older than you.
Not quite a bit, but we might have been in high school together.
May or may not. Not actually. Where did you grow up?
I mean, not.
Tell me your origin story. Where'd you grow up?
God, I grew up obviously in Georgia.
We gotta make a
sheep earring is just popping out. So
you grew up in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, not Atlanta, like outside of Atlanta, like.
Right, because if it was Atlanta, those earrings wouldn't pop out.
Oh, yeah. Well,
maybe not.
Reading a drag queen, I love it. Just out in the sticks, little 90s, 80s, 90s, little gay boy. And then I ran off to New York at 21 and never looked back.
Were you an out gay boy in the 80s and 90s?
I mean, if I was doing Princess Leia as a kid, I was pretty out there as far as you could definitely know I was gay. But no, I mean, it's very interesting. Half my family is Jewish. The other half is Southern Baptist.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in therapy.
That's a lot of religion.
Oh.
That's a lot.
Praise be. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I was going to church 2 times a week, praising the Lord, praising that Sky Daddy for a long time. Yeah.
So that's Sky Daddy.
And then
how did that work out for you?
Well, here I am on this sofa in a dress.
And before this, you were at Good Morning America.
Yeah, I mean,
you've been making the rounds, babe.
Yeah, I don't know, it's been a journey. I mean, I feel like not the great thing, but the thing about church is, especially in the South, it's one of the only places where you can find community, right? You have a youth group service, you have stuff for adults and people for singles and married folks. There's such community in a church realm or what do they call it? A congregation? What's the congregation? Yeah. And that's the only kind of form of community you get growing up. So, that's what I gravitated to. But
is there community? Sorry, you were going to say?
No, yeah. And I just kind of got burned by them for not being...
For being yourself.
Yeah. So.
Is there community in the gay community and in the drag community?
Yeah, I feel
like a tight-knit family system? Definitely
feel like I've chosen family in New York City and found community within the queer community. And that's where my congregation lies. It's the House of Drag.
I love that.
Where we worship Dolly Parton.
Love Dolly.
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I don't know, it's just been a journey, and it's just great to surround yourself with people that love and accept you for who you are and love the journey you're on and aren't afraid of you changing or finding your truth.
Yeah.
And that was not the case growing up in the church. Because once you deviate from the vision or the book is when it's not good,
Not good, you get in trouble?
Yeah, when there was explicit youth services about you're going to die of AIDS and go to hell. That was the rhetoric. So I was oh, I don't want that. So
None of us want
no.
that.
So you like, you shut down and repress parts of yourself that you think are shameful or wrong. And
Scary.
and then when you're told that for years, it's hard to unlearn things. So yeah.
But you seem pretty self-expressed these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
you gotta. I mean, I moved to New York at 21. I really wanted to explore the world. I knew that what my surroundings was giving me was, I knew there was more out there. I was like, there has to be. It's like, I'm way too like creative and like too out of the box for these people. Like I have to see the world and see what's out there.
Yeah, you're a real artist.
Yeah. And then I came to New York and I was like, oh yeah, okay. I get it.
Because we get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start performing for Drag Story Hour?
I was the first drag queen to read in New York City in 2016. Have you been to the Greenlight Bookstore in Williamsburg? Yes. That was the first place I did drag.
Oh, cool.
Or Drag Story Hour.
But you were doing drag for nightlife then before you got old?
I was doing, before I got old, I was doing like a 7 p.m. bingo for charity. So I've never been a nightlife queen, but yeah, so it worked really well into like my schedule. I love working with kids. I was like, great, I can do like 11 a.m. situation and take the drag off. I was like, this is great. So
what is the mission of the Drag Story Hour?
Our, Drag Story Hour is exactly like it sounds. It's drag queens and kings that read to kids in public schools and libraries. And we just want to create a safe space for kids to see themselves and to see themselves reflected in books and characters. And just be, bright lights of change in their communities when they grow up.
When you read the books that you do read, are they specifically geared towards gay and like the LGBTQ issues, or is it just in general?
It's just, I think the queer representation is the story reader in front of you. I think actually, I have some treats for you. I've brought you some books for your kids.
I have B for Bagel by Rachel Pike when she sent it to me. I wanted
to be like, yeah, this is for you.
I feel like it's really nice that everyone is like, this is a book for you, babe. B for Bagel.
This is great.
It is. I love a bagel.
So you have like, you have like 10 copies.
It's a real thing. I love it so much.
I mean, like we read all kinds of different books. They don't have to be so on the nose about whatever. Like
queerness.
Yeah. I mean, like the books we read, our characters, they're all about diversity and inclusion and equity and equality. And that can happen in like a number of books. So yeah. And the only books we kind of don't read is books that kind of focus on bullying or things that could teach kids.
Like, to bully.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of great books out there. Like Sparkle Boy is great. Morris Micklewire and the Tangerine Dress. Those are amazing books, but they also introduce bullying to the character.
Yeah, I always had a question about that when it comes to kids and like literature. It's like there are these books about like a dinosaur throwing things at his parents, like, I don't want to get dressed and I don't want, and I'm like, I know you're trying to teach the kid not to do that, but if my kids are not doing that yet, and maybe he will one day.
Yeah.
Like, am I teaching him to throw stuff at me when he doesn't want to clean his room?
I mean, I think they're like great books if the kid's already, that's happening.
Yeah.
And a kid is being bullied in school.
Right,
and you're like, okay, like let's introduce this book.
Right.
But just like a cold story hour reading where you don't know where everyone's coming from, it's like we try to keep it a positive experience.
So how long are the shows?
Our story hours are like 45 minutes or like an hour long. Like a regular kind of library story time that you go to.
And the age range of the kids?
I mean, whoever shows up. I mean, our signature programming is like 3 to 8-year-olds. But we work with like middle schools. We do book clubs. We go to high schools and do GSA and drama club visits. We do stuff with senior citizens.
Beautiful.
We work with kids with autism and other special needs. So we have like a special training that our storytellers go through to work with that community too. So we do like a lot of cool stuff.
And how do you think that being in drag, you're part of the LGBTQ like community.
Yeah.
When you're not in drag also, right?
Yeah.
So if you came to the library or a public school and read to kids, you would be representative of the community.
I'm still a drag queen whether I'm in drag or not. I'm still an artist, you know what I mean?
Yes. But why is it important to be in drag, do you think?
I think drag it's a cornerstone in an art form of the queer community. And we have a history, and drag and trans people have always stood up and been the leaders of the queer community. And it's just really important for kids to experience otherness at a younger age. So when they grow up, they're well adjusted, and people can have more compassion over comprehension. You don't need to understand everything about somebody to have compassion for them. So if kids see a drag performer or someone that looks different than them, they can embrace it and like accept diversity for what it is and move on with their life. Like, you know,
you're also fully self-expressed, right?
Yeah.
So like when I see you, I'm smiling. I see colors. I see a lot of bright
it's
sparkles.
Like
I see a person.
character.
Exactly. I see a person who's like happy in their skin. I mean, that's gotta add to the performance and to the experience of the child themselves, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really great to see live performance. I don't think kids experience theater or live performance enough. And I think drag is a great way to introduce over-the-top creative, like fun and magic. And seeing an adult express themselves outside of the box and to do things that defy gender or things that you're not supposed to do or colors not supposed to wear. It like unlocks doors and windows to kids to kind of see like, oh, like it's all about play. Kids just want to like play and try stuff. It doesn't mean any more than what it is.
And what's the reaction when you read to them?
I mean, the kids love it. I think they're more kind of obsessed about like, oh, like how to get glitter to stick to your face, and is that your real name, and is that your real hair, and like how do you walk in those shoes? It's more about the aesthetics. Like the kids are really interested in the aesthetics of drag and how it all comes together, which is very interesting.
How do you mean? Tell me more.
Like, you know, you usually don't see people in your life. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm from the South, so a lot of like Southern women probably look like this on a regular basis.
Honestly, but that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I actually, there are some people online that I follow, like that are from the South, and I'm like, I actually don't know if they're in drag or I'm not sure because.
Yeah. I mean, Southern women are the draggiest people ever because they do everything they do, especially if we're going to church. You're doing the hair and the hairspray and
what
the
are you modeling yourself after, right?
Well, it's hilarious because, okay, so Ona Louise is actually my mom's name.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mom curious.
Oh my God.
So
she's the Southern Baptist.
She's a Southern Baptist. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mommy.
So actually, when she visited New York years ago, like when I first moved here, I took her to a gay bar in Williamsburg, back when Williamsburg had gay bars. And we were dancing at TNT and on the dance floor. And this guy like walks up to my mom and he's like, hey. She's like, hi. And he's like, you look great. She's like, thanks. And he's like, when are you going on? When are you performing? And she's like, what? I can't hear you. And I had to like interject. And she's like, what was he saying? I'm like, oh, he thought you were a drag queen. Like, and then she started bawling. She was like crying her eyes out. She's like, I'm no drag queen. Southern women just look like this.
That's
which
right.
is the most draggiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life of her saying that. So I was like,
but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an aesthetic.
Yeah, we all do drag. Like when you go on a date, when you go to church.
I am doing drag right now.
Yeah.
This is my version of drag. I am still the woman in the sweatpants. This is it. I have a friend, Chen, who teases me. He's like, that's your gender expression, that like I wear like a beanie and like sweatpants.
I mean, yeah.
I'm like, that's not my gender expression. That's just like is that my gender expression? It's just my expression.
It can be whatever you want it to be. And it can change on a daily basis.
Yes.
And that's fine.
Yes. I was actually watching some of the videos on the Drag Story Hour Instagram, which are fantastic. And I was thinking, like, in the South, right, if we're very gently and kindly teasing about, Southern women, sort of having this like aesthetic,
Yeah.
I really thought to myself, like, do these kids even like, do they even clock that this is a drag queen?
That is
And
so funny. Yeah.
and on that note, there must be a huge difference in the reception here in New York
Oh yeah.
as opposed to all over the country. So if you could, give me
I mean, it's like really, this is
rundown.
like a global capital, New York City. It's like a bubble. It's very liberal. And I mean, we've had some protests here for Story Hour, like in the West Village, which is crazy because that's so gay. And it's like the gayest neighborhood ever. And it's like, why would there be a
Protesting
protest?
you?
Yeah, for Drag Story Hour in New York City.
Why?
This upsets a lot of people. I don't really know. But like even then it's like you're gonna be outnumbered in the West Village. I mean, you're like 2 blocks from the AIDS Memorial. Like you're outside the
Stonewall.
Yeah, you're outside the LGBT center protesting. Like you're gonna be outnumbered anyway. But it's different because I'm just a white drag queen in New York City, but we have lots of like Black trans women that do drag for us in North Carolina or Tennessee, where drag is outlawed right now, or even in Texas or Florida. So
outlawed. Drag is outlawed.
Drag is outlawed in Tennessee.
What does that mean?
That you will be a felon if you're caught doing drag in a public setting. Yeah, there's lots of anti-drag bills and laws coming out right now. It's like a really terrifying thing.
I mean, you just said Tennessee, and I'm like, we're recording days after a shooting in Tennessee. My whole body is like really.
No,
it's what we're putting our attention on. It's
pretty
sad.
sickening because the media really goes after like, oh well, like the shooter was a trans person, and it's like, yeah, like that's disheartening to know.
Yeah.
But also I'm more disheartened that person, regardless of them, are able to get guns in the first place to do whatever they want with those guns. So it's less about the people who are doing it and more about the access to weapons and guns. And it's just crazy. But maybe that's a little off topic. But
yeah, it's funny. It's not funny. It's actually not funny at all. But people do. But people are often saying like, you're outlawing drag queens. Like we have access to guns and shooting up schools. Like wow.
Yeah.
So it does feel like it's related. Where are our priorities?
It's so insane. And like Tennessee is one of the last states where you can't change your gender marker on your driver's license. So what happens if you're a trans woman getting pulled over for like speeding or something? A cop could potentially say you're in drag, and now you're a sex offender felon for 6 years.
A sex offender?
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy?
Well, I just don't see the connection between dressing up in drag and being a sex offender.
Well, the thing is, it's not really about drag. It's not really about reading to kids. It's not about protecting children. It's about legislating trans and queer people out of existence, and attacking drag performers is like the entry point to attack trans people. And we saw a really like intense start of that when Roe versus Wade was overturned. And that was really like the floodgates opening for, the far right chipping away at our rights as a community. And it's all connected. And the important thing to remember is we have to include the most marginalized voices, because when we lift them up, it lifts all of us up.
Yes, it does.
So that's my soapbox.
I love your soapbox so much.
But no, I mean, it's harder to find queer joy nowadays.
Is it?
Yeah, because
you don't feel happy.
I'm so happy. I'm the happiest I've been.
But in general, it's hard to find queer joy.
It's just harder because then the worst thing I thought I had to think about for a drag show was my hairline or my wig line,
which is really important.
Yeah, but not an active shooter contingency safety plan.
And you have to think about that.
We're thinking about for Story Hour, stop the bleed training, CPR trainings, street medicine, active shooter, and de-escalation training for everybody. We got to be prepared for anything.
Because people are violent towards you.
Yeah, I mean, we've had people storm our events. We've had like organized white supremacy groups storm our story hours, bring guns, either concealed or open carry to events around the country. It's really wild.
Can I ask why it's so important to you to continue to dress in drag if it's a life or death experience?
I mean, drag is art, and if you try to outlaw art, what are you gonna do next? And there was a really important historical figure that tried to wipe out people and art and expression. So if we don't look at history and remind ourselves the timeline and outline of what could happen to people, history can repeat itself. And I've had to suppress so much of myself before, and I don't want to have to do that again. Like, it's a means to no end. Like, they're not going to stop at drag. They're going to target trans people. Or what about interracial marriage? Or gay marriage? Won't stop. So.
So you're out here fighting the good fight.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked, baby.
I'm wondering if you could read us a book. Would that be crazy?
Oh my God, it's not crazy. What did I bring? I'll do an excerpt. I haven't read these books yet, but yeah, no, it's interesting because this is about brushing your teeth. This is great.
Oh, I might need that.
Yeah, same. Enamel the camel. Enamel, like enamel on your teeth.
Yeah.
Great.
By whom?
Okay, so this book is Enamel the Camel, written by Dr. Mike Keene, and illustrated, that means the person that drew the pictures, Rick Elias. I'll do a little excerpt. Okay. There was a time long ago when camels never, ever brushed their teeth. Ew. They didn't need to. None of them ever smiled.
Oh, no.
That is a sad world. Except Enamel, who lived with their parents and Camelot on one hump lane. Love it. Just like the other camels, they knew Enamel had one hump, 2 toes on each foot, and a hairy coat. So I'm guessing that's Enamel, and this is their family on one hump lane. I'm assuming Enamel is going to brush their teeth because they smile. That's where this book is headed.
It's so important to smile.
Yeah. So the biggest thing about the reading the books is that so many times in books, gender is put on characters or objects don't need to be gendered. Like, it's a camel, right? Like, unless the camel being a he is important to the story, we really try to keep the language like gender neutral as possible. So anyone reading the book can kind of see themselves in the character.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we kind of, with Story Hour, we walk our storytellers like through the books and kind of do like trainings and like, how can we ask questions to the kids? And like, what's the message of the book? And yeah, it's like really fun.
Why is it important to you to work with kids?
I mean, I was these kids, going, and I was not supported. I was in gay conversion therapy and was brought up in the church, and I didn't have supportive parents and was told, no, I couldn't do things for so long. And look at the work I'm doing now. Imagine if I was supported as a child or could see myself in someone who's reading a book or see myself in characters in books. I could be like the president by now.
You really could.
Yeah.
You really could.
And that's, I mean, my experience obviously is different than other people that do drag, but I do feel like that's a really common thread is when you're a kid, it's important to be supported. And I think adults push a lot of our weird issues on stuff where kids aren't even thinking about that.
What do you mean?
Just because like a kid wants to express themselves or throw on a different outfit or play with different toys. It's just like anything else. It's like I was brought up in a Christian home by 2 heterosexuals and watched heterosexual love scenes in movies my whole life. And,
right.
I was forced to certain gender indoctrination my entire life. But I'm gay as hell. So it didn't work. It didn't, it didn't make me straight. So
right. Right. Tell me more about that. Right.
Yeah.
So the fear of indoctrinating children.
Yeah. It already happens.
It happens. It happened to you. You were indoctrinated and it didn't change your sexual orientation.
No, I mean, like, we're all we're raised in like a heterosexual patriarchal world. And if the thing is, oh, you're indoctrinating children, like, and children are already being indoctrinated into heterosexuality from the get-go with, your gender reveal party and all the stuff. I mean, like, straight people are obsessed with gender. They're obsessed with genitals. They're the ones that are obsessed with it, not us. Right. So it's just interesting how the script is flipped. The script is flipped. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the obsession with gender is playing out now.
Yeah.
From the, straight.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Like,
that obsession.
Straight men are so obsessed with drag queens. It's hilarious.
What do you mean?
There's like the Proud Boys that are against us. And
Proud Boys.
Yeah. And they secretly come to our events and act like they'll take photos with us. They'll order drinks. They'll take videos to like do like research on us. And it's like, if you just want to go to a drag show, babe, you can. I'm not going to tell anyone. If you just want to like dip your toes in like gay culture, you're allowed to explore. You don't have to pretend you're trying to like, bring info back to your boys or something. It's fine. Don't be scared. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, it's I mean, like, I'm deep in all this because it's from just the work I do. But yeah, I mean, queer people are really targeted right now, and trans people are super targeted. And I just think it's just a lot of internalized homophobia and transphobia.
Internalized.
Yeah. Like, they're
people who are homophobic and hate themselves?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I feel like a lot of these people are the bullies that were in middle school and high school and college. It's the same people with an iPhone and with Twitter. So,
How do we keep you safe?
Give us all your money. No.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, there's like great ways to be good allies. I think it's important raising a next generation of people that are not racist, like raising an anti-racist new generation, and not having them be transphobic or homophobic is really important. And being really involved in your kids' life in your community, like joining the PTA, joining the school, council, and really getting into your town hall meetings and really being a part of that legislation that's happening at a very low level is where it all starts. Being really involved in your kids' schools is important, and staying up for like book banning and what's being taught is really important. Yeah.
And in terms of like the laws that are being passed?
It's really, I mean, like, Florida's like wild right now with the Don't Say Gay bills and anti-trans, anti-drag bills. And it's wild. You, like, a kid could sue a trans person for being in the bathroom for like mental, like, trauma right now is up for a bill. Like, it's just like insane what's happening. Yeah. It's the corset.
It's the corset?
Yeah.
That is insane.
It is. It's a crazy world.
Mm-hmm. How do we stop it? You don't have all the answers? All of them?
All of them. I know everything. I know it's just like, I think obviously voting is important, but I think being a good ally is not being performative about it, and like doing things when people aren't around to congratulate you for being a good person. If someone says something homophobic or transphobic when no one else is around, and correcting them is really important. Or, just teaching your kids the right things to do. I don't know.
I don't know that my kids have ever really interacted with a drag queen or a trans person.
Yeah.
I'm sure a trans person at some point in Brooklyn, right? Like, maybe
Yeah.
I wasn't there, or I didn't notice, or I don't know, but I haven't clocked any of that. And that's important. That interaction is important, but parents would have to be proactive about that. That's why the Drag Story Hour exists.
Yeah, it's
for a place to be proactive about that input in a child's life. These people exist. They're happy. They're fun. They're cute. They love you. They love the books that you love to read.
And like the thing about drag is like we're not asking you to like maybe outside of Story Hour, just in general. It's like you don't have to like drag culture,
right? Like,
but like you don't need
to like jazz.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest R&B rap person. I don't want to ban it. I'm not going to go outside of a club or something and like burn it down. It's just like I don't like rap music. I'm not going to go to a DJ that plays rap. I'm not going to try to ban it or like vote against it. It's just so silly. It's like we're a totally optional program, and we're for people who want to have safe spaces in a queer space. And a queer space means everyone is welcome. Like queer is like everybody is welcome, and it's going to be safe for everybody. So
a queer space is for everyone?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of loaded, I guess. Queer space as in like Story Hour is a very open space. It's open for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it seems so benign, guys.
Yeah.
That's what's boggling my mind. It's like you're just reading a book in a really cute costume. Like my daughter would go nuts. And she would be so happy.
And like we've been in the New York City Public Library for 7 years now. If anything nefarious was happening, do you think the library would let an official program be doing something weird? You know what I mean?
Why would anything nefarious be happening?
I mean, that's the whole debate, is that where like people equate drag to like stripping and adult entertainment.
Oh, okay. And originally the drag art form was for
I mean, it is.
adults.
I mean, like not for Story Hour, but drag is art, and art can be consumed by any age group. Demographic. So, with art, it's like, yeah, some actors will be in an R-rated movie and a love scene, but will also voice over a Pixar film.
Totally.
And no one is getting upset about that. But I think because drag has roots in the queer community is where the issue is.
But what's so interesting to me is that, like, I do Shakespeare, right? It's only like the past few hundred years that women could step on stage and play those Shakespearean roles.
Yeah.
Men were dressed in drag for a very long time.
Yeah. And
playing lovers, Romeo and Juliet, those were two guys. Juliet was just dressed up like a gal.
Yeah. And like in ancient Greece, like if you were seen wearing pants, that was a sign that you were like not like royalty or not wealthy, and like you weren't like men always wore dresses. That was a sign of like upper class and like respect. Wearing pants was like for the working class, or like, oh, like you're not fabulous, you're not a man, you're not in a dress. So I don't know, it's silly. It's not really. This earring loves to pop off like me, but it's not about drag. It's about restricting rights. It's about trans misogyny. It's about trying to control women. It's about a lot of things, and it's not about drag.
How is it about trans misogyny and controlling women? Just to pull the thread, because it makes so much. It's so clear to you, and it makes so much sense. But like to the listener, hi listener, thanks for listening. Like let's like spell it out.
Yeah, I mean, it is control and power, and self-hatred, and hating anything feminine, and needing the control to control people that aren't like you, and this is like so much pressure. I need to like think about this while I grab my coffee.
Oh yeah, take your time.
How is this? This is a lot. Okay. How much time do we have left? I
don't mean to torture you.
It just really comes down to hatred of women and femininity in general, and who displays those attributes.
Thank you for laying it out like that.
Yeah.
Because that's so true. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And
because it's upsetting on a lot of levels, but truly the feminine is just has been eradicated day after day for millennia.
yeah.
And when men tap into their femininity on subtle levels and not subtle levels,
Yeah.
it is infuriating to the wounded masculine.
Yeah.
It is infuriated. I'm not allowed to be self-expressed.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to be in touch with all parts of me.
Yeah. I mean, when I first moved to New York City, I was living in Bed-Stuy in 2009, and I would see really effeminate.
6 years before you were born?
Yeah. I'm a magical being. I'm a unicorn. I would see like effeminate gay men walking around the streets, and it would piss me off. I hated it. I hated seeing men in skirts or dresses or painted nails.
And why?
And because I had internalized homophobia, and I was scared of the parts that I was attracted to the most. And now you can see me, even when I met you, I think I was wearing all women's clothing, maybe even a skirt when we did our photo shoot together. So like now,
I mean, it was a very cool outfit. It wasn't like just a skirt. It was like it was like this, but
it was giving like gay pirate.
It was giving gay pirate, but also like it was super masculine and all. It was like it was art. It was art in fashion, and very different from this look today.
Yeah, and that's the greatest thing is just switching it up. But yeah, I think sometimes we're scared of the parts of ourselves that we're attracted to the most, you know?
Or the parts that are repressed and dying to get out.
Yeah. And just because you want to do something doesn't mean anything else is tied to it. If you do want to paint your nails or wear different types of clothes, doesn't mean anything other than expression. Gender and sex are totally different things. So however you want to express yourself can be free of sex. And a lot of people conflate sex and gender, and that's where the uproar is with drag, is they think it's like sexuality, which they are like intersectional, but like this is all gender presentation, and kids are exposed, and you know, quotes, exposed to gender every day of their life when they walk out the door.
Right.
So this is just another perspective of what gender is in the world.
Right. It's a perspective on gender. That's the reality, but the implication and the fear is that it's about sex, and sex is scary and unholy, and these are all things that have to do with religious indoctrination, which we live in a country that's supposed to.
It's a big moral panic always.
Those two things.
Drag is like anything else, and us reading to kids is like every educator, every teacher, every librarian has a life outside of working with kids. Mm-hmm. It's nothing different. We don't do anything appropriate or inappropriate that in front of kids, and we have our own separate adult lives like everyone else in the world.
Like their parents.
Yeah, like
who they live with for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And guess what? Parents
for 18 years.
Parents have to have sex to
in
have
order to have kids.
It's just a part of
consensual sex. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sex nonetheless. Yeah. And that's self-hate. I mean, if it's so if it's about sex and the self-hatred that literally all of us have sexual urges, you know, then it must be so uncomfortable to the, you know, religious powers that be.
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes right back to patriarchy. It's like these men can only view women as sexual things. That's why drag queens are always sexualized. It's like, can you only see a woman as a sexual thing and not as...
Thank you.
So that's the real issue.
What's fun for you about dressing up as a woman? Do you, I mean, those are beautiful shoes.
Thank you. These are my running shoes.
You guys have to see them. They're like 6 inches and sparkly.
They're fine. They're fun.
Mary Jane's.
Drag is fun. I mean, people react differently. You know, like I see the world the same regardless of what I'm wearing, but when people look at me, they see something different. So that's a cool thing, is that you get different energy from people the way you act and dress. And this pulls out a more exciting thing in people.
which means that it would pull out a more exciting thing in children, which
Yeah.
is like, who doesn't want that for their kid?
Yeah. And with the world being a burning dumpster fire that it is, I think kids need as much joy and fun and self-expression and creativity as possible. Because we get fed so much negative stuff all the time.
But so do their parents, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go to a drag story hour, you as a parent get to experience self-expression and joy.
You get to see a free drag show for yourself. It's fun.
In the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day.
For those of us who are a little tie-tie.
Yeah, always tie-tie.
So you're just gonna keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I mean, we're expanding and growing our organization, and we're going to be really busy for Pride. We are going to be the Grand Marshals of the San Francisco Pride, which will be really exciting. So we'll be leading the San Francisco Pride March. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not publicly out now, but I'm sure when this episode lands, we'll be out and proud about it. But
congratulations.
yeah, it's super fun. And
you were just in South by Southwest also, right?
Yeah, we were a featured session at South by Southwest this past year, and we just got a special recognition award from GLAAD for our organization.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's super great to be seen as a leader in the community, and we know we're doing something right with the support that we're getting in community, which wraps right back into chosen family. So finding your tribe, sticking with them. Gay rights.
Amen. Where can we find you?
Well, right here, where are we? Canal Street? No. Yeah, you can follow us on
because you're not going anywhere in those.
No, I mean maybe.
Really.
I mean, you can find us on Instagram at Drag Story Hour. And if you're younger, TikTok, Drag Story Hour.
Mm-hmm. And what about you personally? Is that you're not into it?
No, yeah. I'm on Instagram at ona.louise. But not on TikTok. She's not a TikTok girly.
Okay.
She's a little too old for that TikTok life.
I don't know. I think you do well on
Maybe.
TikTok. That said, would you just read a little bit of B is for Bagel?
B is for Bagel.
And then we can say adios to our beloveds.
This is for you, listeners. First, wait, is this the recipe part? No, yeah. First, knead the yeast in water and the flour, but not too much. Just push and pull the dough until it's silky to the touch. Now let it rest and watch as it grows before your eyes. Bit by bit, it rises till it doubles in size. Roll out snakes of dough and make some large and squishy rings, or roll a ball and poke a hole, either of those things. I gotta get my rhyming down. Splish goes the water that is boiling in the pot. Splash goes the bagels. Watch out, it's very hot. Remove them from the water, then sprinkle each with seeds or another choice of flavoring you think your bagel needs. How do you like your bagels?
I like a plain bagel or sesame with cream cheese and lox and as many vegetables as you can fit in there.
Okay. Well, obviously, rainbow bagel, right?
It's for you? You like the rainbow bagel?
I mean, I never tasted it.
They're good for the kids.
It's fine. Talk about sacrilegious. I probably am really gross. You don't want to know my order.
I want to know your order really badly.
I feel like I do
like a blueberry bagel?
Well, I do like an onion bagel.
Oh, okay.
Toasted.
Okay.
With like scallion cream cheese.
Oh, that's delicious.
And then tomato bacon.
What's tomato bacon?
No, tomato and bacon.
And bacon. Oh, now you went there.
And like
now you lost me.
I basically just make it like a bacon, egg, and cheese, but on a bagel.
Oh, all right. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Ona Louise.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Your mom must be so proud.
We haven't met. I mean, Ona has not.
I know exactly what you meant. No, we have not met.
Yeah.
No, we have not met. And I am just in absolute awe and reverence of your beauty inside and out.
Oh,
thank you for your bravery, for your artistry.
Well, thank
and
you.
For your advocacy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Drag on.
Drag on, baby. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My name is Daniela Rabbani. I am your host, and I would love to continue this conversation at Daniela Rabbani on Instagram. And if you'd be so kind to rate and review, share this podcast, I would be just really grateful. Catch you next time, every Tuesday on the Mom Curious podcast, produced by Hoff Studios. You can find them at Hoff Studios on Instagram as well. All right, have a great day.